Okay, so here we are. Homemade peanut butter cookies. This is what they look like when they're all cooled and finished. You're going to get the whole recipe coming up. Let's take one. Let's see its texture. Come on in real close. Let's look at this beautiful cookies texture. Oh, soft. Lovely. And let's have a bite. Let's see. I'm having a bite. That's such a good cookie. It kind of tastes like the inside of a Reese's peanut butter cup. Delicious, delicious cookie. Perfect flavor. All right, so let's see how it's done. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do before you start getting any ingredients together is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, it's important to get that done before you get going because it takes usually most ovens 10 to 20 minutes to fully preheat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the ingredients needed for this, and the best thing about this recipe is it's super good and you only need 3 things. The first thing that you're going to need is 1 egg, granulated sugar, that's regular sugar, and peanut butter. That's it, that's all. You could have another optional ingredient, which would be some Hershey's Kisses. I don't have them today, but as I'm doing it, I'll show you how to incorporate them. All right, next thing I'm going to do is show you how to put this all together. Okay, so what you're going to need is a nice sized bowl, okay, and a fork. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crack the egg into the bowl, okay, the whole egg there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fork to beat the egg like that. Just like you're making scrambled eggs. You could use a whisk for this, except I have a fork, it's easier to clean, so I'm going to use a fork. Really beat that egg so you don't see any streaks of yellow anymore. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to add the 1 cup of sugar. And since sugar is a dry ingredient, you're going to use a measuring cup like this to measure 1 level cup of sugar. You're not going to use a measuring cup like this because this is for measuring liquids. Okay, so here we go. Here goes our 1 cup of sugar right in there. And now we have a clean measuring cup, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to measure the peanut butter. All right, now since peanut butter is very thick, you're going to use a measuring cup that looks like this, the same one that I used the sugar with. Okay, it's really thick. You're not going to be able to scoop it out. You got to use a spoon to get it out of there. And peanut butter is, you know, it's thick, it's sticky, it's kind of a pain to measure, but that's okay because trust me, this is worth it. This recipe is worth it. So get the peanut butter in there, and you want the peanut butter to be all the way up to the top. That's a little bit too much, but that is looking pretty good. See there? You want it all the way up to the top of the measuring cup, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into here with the sugar and the eggs. So I love to use a rubber spatula because it's going to get all that peanut butter out. All that peanut butter out, or almost every little bit of peanut butter out. And the next step is going to do the mixing. Okay, we got our 3 ingredients in the bowl. I'm going to use a wooden spoon to stir it up. You don't need anything fancy. A wooden spoon, hold the wooden spoon down here, not up here, down here. And you're really going to need to stir. You're going to have to use some muscle here to really stir this mixture up. Okay, so I've been stirring this up for a couple minutes, and this is looking like it's ready. It's nice and thick, and when I push down on it, nothing sticks to my fingers, okay? So I'm gonna take this dough, and I'm gonna put it on a cutting board like this, and I'm gonna form it into a circle. Okay, a big ball of dough. And then I'm going to take a butter knife and I'm going to cut it into 4 equal chunks. Okay, there we go, 4 equal chunks. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make 6 balls of dough for each of these chunks, like this. So take off some, just like that, roll it in between the palms of your hands like that. They're going to be, the recipe yields 24. So they're going to be a little bit smaller than a golf ball. And you want them all to be about the same size. You don't want some to be big, some to be small, because then the bigger ones won't cook all the way through and the smaller ones will overcook. Okay, so that's 4, that's 5, and that's 6. All right, so I've shaped all the balls of dough and I'm gonna put them on this baking sheet. Now this here is great. This is parchment paper, which is one of my absolute favorite things for making cookies. This is from Costco, parchment paper. It's not hard to find, but nothing will stick to it. If you don't have parchment, then what you can do is you can use cooking spray, give it a good spray, and that's so that the cookies don't stick. Now if you look over here, I already have one pan that's already ready, 12 cookies here, and the other 12 go here because this makes 24. Now one thing you want to do is you want to put them far enough apart from each other. Like this, that's too close, okay? Then when they bake, they'll run into each other. So just like that, so there's nice room for them to grow. Okay. Now the next step, the last step, is to give them that classic peanut butter look, which is what's called a crosshatch pattern. So come in close. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a fork, you're going to go down one way, and then 90-degree angle the other way. Whoops. Just like that. Now here is where, if you had Hershey Kisses, this is where they would come in handy. So instead of doing this thing with a fork that I'm doing, imagine if I have a Hershey Kiss in my hand, use it to press the cookie down. Because then you have something really, really pretty, and it has the benefit of having chocolate with it too. And chocolate and peanut butter are 2 of the best flavors known to mankind. So I'm almost ready. And you do need to do this pressing thing, otherwise they won't flatten out. So look what I have here. I've got 2 baking sheets, 12 here, 12 here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get them into the oven. All right, so we're getting closer. We're going to put these into the oven. What I've got inside the oven is 2 racks, and one of these baking sheets goes on the bottom rack, one of these baking sheets goes on the top rack. So I'm going to get those in there now. On the bottom and on the top. Okay, so it's going to take between 9 and 12 minutes for them to finish. How much time it takes really depends on your oven. I always like to take cookies out when they look slightly underbaked. So when these are ready, I'll show you what mine look like so you can kind of gauge what yours should look like too. Ooh, look at that. Okay, I just took them out of the oven with my mitts, my not wet mitts. Now, they may, get a good close shot of this. So they may not look quite done to you, but cookies continue to bake even after you take them out of the oven. So what's real important is that you let them rest. Rest right here on the baking sheets just as is until they cool. Because if you take them off right now, they'll fall apart on you, okay? It's happened so many times with students. Let them cool just like this. Just walk out of the kitchen, go play a video game or something, and come back in maybe 20 minutes, which is what I will do to show you to taste one.